Hey guys, it's Austin here with Out Jeeping. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace your O2 sensor. Today, we're going to be doing it on my 98 Cherokee with a 4.0. So, let's get started. Alright, so to know if you have a bad O2 sensor, usually it's going to start off with the check engine light. And from there, you can scan it and see for sure if you have a code popping up for either your upstream or downstream O2 sensor. And depending on what vehicle you have, it could be bank 1 or bank 2. But since this is my 98 Cherokee, I just have one bank. And as you can see right here, I scanned this on my Bluetooth Torque app, and it's coming up as P0138, which is a downstream O2 sensor. And basically the downstream O2 sensor measures the efficiency of the catalytic converter and make sure that it's not plugged or anything like that, and that it's filtering out all of the poisonous gases and stuff. And for your upstream O2 sensor, basically that determines your air-fuel mixture ratio and make sure that the engine's running properly in the right conditions that it's in. And a way you can tell that the upstream is going bad, besides just scanning it, is that it'll actually sometimes run really rough. You might have it where it bogged down, or sometimes it'll run really rich and it'll actually go through a lot more fuel more than usual. So today I'm going to be replacing our downstream O2 sensor with this Bosch sensor right here, and it's going to be a direct replacement. No need to splice any wires like some kits you do out there, so it should be a pretty easy install. So this is what the O2 sensor looks like, and as you can see, it just has a simple plug. Now if you are replacing an O2 sensor and it's one of those universal ones that work with many cars, you might just have a pigtail and you actually have to splice it into the existing O2 sensor harness, which isn't too big of a deal. It's all basically color coded. You got two white wires, one gray one and one black one, and that's pretty universal for most O2 sensors. And you don't usually have to worry about swapping around the white ones because that is actually for the heater that's built inside the O2 sensor, so it doesn't matter what polarity you have that in. So let's get started on removing the old O2 sensor. Alright, so as you can see under the Jeep here, we have the downstream O2 sensor right here, and it's actually located on the rear of the catalytic converter. Sometimes they're actually in the pipe that's right behind it, but this one is pretty easy, it's right there. And we also have a connector that's over here, and usually it's actually up here, but this one was looks like someone's been in here before. So we're going to disconnect this, and then we're basically going to unscrew this from the catalytic converter. So this basically has a simple pin. Undo that. So now for removing the old O2 sensor, it's actually going to be a 7/8. So you can use a open end wrench or a closed end if you snip off the old end and fit it over. Or they actually make sockets specifically for O2 sensors. It's basically just a deep socket that has a little slit in it. That way you can fit the wire through that slot without, damaging it. Or if the O2 sensor is completely junk, you can actually just hack off the end and throw a deep socket on here and take that off. If it doesn't look like it's coming free and it's looking like it's going to strip out, I would recommend using a lot of heat around the outside surface over here. That way it'll expand a little bit more and should be able to crack it free. I'm going to try right there. Alright, looks like it broke free. So I'll just unthread this all the way. Alright, so what I like to do before putting the new O2 sensor in is basically taking this O2 sensor thread chaser and running it through these threads, because sometimes it can get all mangled up with all the heat and expansion over the years and all the corrosion. So basically I'm just going to thread this in there, and it's basically going to help reshape the threads if they got misshapen at all. Alright, so it goes in there a lot easier now. And if you're wondering what size this is actually an 18mm by 1.5. Alright, so now for installing the new O2 sensor, basically they got this plastic cap that's on the end here, and they looks like they already got some anti-seize on the threads, which is a good thing. So if this were to go bad again, it shouldn't be too hard on getting it off. And if it doesn't have any anti-seize, you want to make sure you put some on there, and they actually do make some high temp stuff for O2 sensors, so you want to use that, and that'll withstand all the heat that these O2 sensors go through. So with the new one, we're just going to thread it right into place. And then I'm going to snug it up with my wrench. Right there is good. Now all we got to do is put our electrical connector and plug it back in, and then snap it to where the mount where it holds up in, so that it's not just hanging down. Alright, so before I snap this in, I'm actually just going to use some dielectric grease on this connection, because it did look like there was a little bit of corrosion, so there's water present. This does have a little O-ring, but just in case, it doesn't hurt to put a little bit in there. And my little Christmas tree pushing thing actually broke off, so I'm just going to take a zip tie, and the mount is actually right behind this drive shaft where it's hard to see, but there's a little hole, so I'm just going to take a zip tie and then zip tie it into place so that it doesn't hit the drive shaft at all. Alright, that's it for the install. Now I'm going to go to my scanner and clear the check engine light code. Alright, so I'm going to go and turn the ignition on and then hook up my scanner. Alright, so now that it's connected, I'm going to go and send the clear fault command, and then I should see the check engine light go off. Alright, so as you can see, the check engine light is off, and sometimes it actually might turn on after a couple drives, and the reason for that is because the ECU needs to learn the new O2 sensor, and because the new O2 sensor has a new set of values that it's reading compared to the old sensor, which had the wrong set of values, it'll say that it's incorrect from what it was. So basically it needs to relearn it, and if it does come on, it should turn off shortly within a drive or two. If it doesn't, you know, after a few days of driving, I would definitely take a look at it again and see if it's coming up with the same code or possibly another code for the check engine light. But for the most part, it should remain off. Alright guys, that's going to do for today's video. As you can see, it wasn't really too hard to do, and this one was nice and easily accessible. Sometimes you might have O2 sensors that are hard to get at, especially upstream O2 sensors that are in the engine bay. You might have things that are blocking it, and you might have to remove more stuff. But for this one, it was pretty simple. It's always good to know how to replace an O2 sensor, especially if you have to do it to pass emissions. It's a lot easier to do it yourself when you only have to pay $30–35 for an O2 sensor compared to taking it into the mechanic, and who knows how much they want to charge there. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.